Greetings and welcome back to room 303 and our chats with Emily, as we're calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson contained in the Johnson edition. We turn now to poem 151, Mute Thy Coronation. We're back to poems 106 and 124. This is another Sam Boyles poem that we've spoken about. Sam Boyles, our assumption, so that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, again, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already been introduced to our set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've already worked through the preceding 150 poems. We just finished with poem 150, She Died. This is another master poem, and we're gonna obviously have already heard about this from poem 96. We're gonna hear again about the master poems and a number of other poems to follow. We'll share some of those with you in a second. Again, in this poem, Emily is going to emphasize her fragility, her smallness. The word tiny gets used. We're going to study a lot of the way in which this poem has some interesting word choice, but also there's a certain kind of tone that's struck here that's going to be fascinating. Let's enjoy the poem. Mute thy coronation, meek my vive le roi. Fold a tiny courtier in thine ermine, sir, there to rest, revering, till the pageant by, I can murmur, broken, Master, it was I. Now, this is a poem spoken directly to, we believe, the master. Maybe in this case it is Sam Boyles. Mute is our first word, of course, overrelated to quiet, right? And the idea that thy coronation suggests his celebration. So in other words, I'm keenly interested in the tone of this poem. I'm not altogether sure that Emily is celebrating the master to the degree that often is assumed. I think there's a little bit of that Emily-like irony that's at play here. Notice, meek my vive le roi, long live the king. In other words, but you'll remember in poem 58, meek apparel thing, her use of the word meek will play along with this idea. I'm just genuflecting in the presence of your shadow. It almost seems at times, though, to quote Hamlet's mom, "Methink the lady doth protest too much." Fold a tiny courtier. You'll remember fold from a poem you'll remember tiny from poem 142. In thine ermine, sir. You'll remember ermine, those ceremonial robes from poem 98. There to rest, revering. Now, I think revering is the key word. It's only used one time in all our poetry, and it's right here. And I think that's really rest, revering, till the pageant by, the coronation, obviously the celebration. I can murmur, broken. Now, when we get to poem 428, we'll hear the broken creators, and this idea of the broken creatures. We'll enjoy this use of her word broken. Like, broken in what way? And then its master, and that takes us back to poem 96, as well as 337, 415, 462, and 754. These are always going to be the questions about who is this master. And then finally, it was I. Now, I'm going to attribute my Emily group to reminding us that in John 6:20, it is Christ who says, "It is I, be not afraid." And is Emily challenging maybe the words of Christ here? It's hard to say. I think at 2A, to take a direct approach to this poem, I think she makes the argument that greatness demands respect, reverential respect. But at 2B, I'm not so sure, guys, given her word choice. Notice, meek, tiny, revering, murmur, broken. Is the tone of this poem rather more about sarcastic or ironic, especially with the word broken? At 3A, we've mentioned already the master poems. Finally, I guess I could ask it this way. Who is a person in your life who you revere this strongly? Or how do you read this poem? Do you read this poem as rather ironic? I find that a fascinating way to read this poem. Thank you.